You want to hear a crazy prison story? Well, let's get into it then. This story happened when I was on a level 2, to be exact, St. Bride's Correctional Center. And at the time, I was working in the kitchen. And the individual that was my cut mate, and basically what that is when you're in a dorm, you're assigned a cut mate, or that individual that you'll be sharing that cut space with, the space between your bed and theirs where both of your lockers are located. Anyways, my cut mate's name was Rock. He was a good dude, hands down. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody stronger than him in the system. This guy lifted every single weight on the pile plus some. But all in all, he just liked to joke, have a good time, talk trash, make hooch, and play cards. Stay out of people's way, and that was it. He was focused on getting home. Solid dude all in all. One day, when I got back from work, I was working in the kitchen at the time. He asked me in his voice, "Hey man, you got some rubber gloves?" I said, "What you need them for, man? You getting ready to come up with a batch?" Because usually when somebody's asking for rubber gloves at the time when I was in the system, they were asking for wine material, something that they could put their stuff in, liquid once it was made to drink. And he replied right away, "Nah, I'm trying to get my girl pregnant." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I ain't gonna give you no more information, but you got some gloves I can get up off you?" I said, "Hey man, I got some right here." I didn't want to ask any more questions. I was confused because I knew he had a girl. He'd get on the wall phone. She wasn't inside the prison unless he was dealing with the CO at the time that I didn't know. But all in all, I gave him the gloves. It was my cut mate. Good dude. Now, I do want to say that the next day was visitation, and it's been a known fact that in some prisons, people take extreme risks in the prison visitation room, and I've never been in agreement with that because, well, let's be honest, people's kids are in there, wives, everybody. It's just a weird thing to do. And I was hoping that my cut mate, my homeboy, etc., weren't going to take a risk like that. But still, I didn't know. And again, I pondered, how could he get his girl pregnant if he's in prison and we don't have conjugal visits and you want a glove? It makes no sense. Not to mention that if you were trying to have a baby with your loved one, why would you need gloves? That didn't make sense either. The next day, almost back to back, they called both of our names for visitation. And I remember him grinning ear to ear. He was one of them guys that had golds in his mouth. Just always in a good mood. Getting ready to go to the dance floor, because that's what they called it, right? That's what we called it, going to the dance floor. Go see our loved ones. You iron your clothes. You put the oil on. You probably got the barber to give you a shape up the day before. And you love being there, man. You get to see family. And not to mention, when you going down there and some of your people from the block going down there at the same time, they down there with your family, or vice versa, you know what I'm saying? They with their family. You talking to each other. It's just like a good community situation for prison. So it was a good day, man. It was Saturday. We were excited. We would have something to talk about later. But still, how was he going to get his girl pregnant? That didn't make sense. We both got our passes to walk down to visitation, and when we walked into the shakedown area, almost immediately, I could hear, "Uh-oh, we got one for lockup." And I just thought to myself, what the heck is going on now? Because I knew the only other person that was down there getting shook down, ready to go in visitation, was my cut mate, Rock. And at the same time as they were saying they had one for lockup, I heard him laughing and chuckling like he always does, talking about, "Y'all got me." And let me tell you something, they got him all right. I was allowed to go into my visitation and Rock was not. And I want to say this, about 20 minutes in of me sitting down with the person that was visiting me at the time, getting a snack, etc., all of a sudden the news had went viral. Well, as much as it could in the penitentiary, because let's be clear, COs talk just like the prisoners. It's like high school in prison, honestly. And what had happened was Rock had got tore off with some contraband, and the contraband that he got tore off, in case anybody was wondering, was a glove, or a rubber glove, full of his little swimmers. That's how I'm gonna say that for the platform. And listen, fill in the blanks, figure it out. And ironically enough, there was recently a story about two prisoners, a man and a woman, while they were at the jail, they ended up conceiving a child through the vent. You should Google that one. But nonetheless, this was a very real situation where my friend, my cut mate, Rock, tried to, smuggle the necessary ingredients in order to do his part when having a child with his loved one who, well, was waiting for them in a visitation room, but was escorted out immediately. It made for a good joke all in all, and they let him back out on the compound like within a week. They didn't really keep him back there that long. He was the brunt of so many people's joke, but he had a great sense of humor, and not to mention, man, he really knew how to play that one. He turned into a legendary story, and as he proclaimed, at least he had the heart to try. And that being said, it's kind of like a lesson in life. It's crazy, but if you want it bad enough, you should at least try. Moral of the story, prison is horrible. Visitations are not cool, although so beneficial, and grateful for the ones that I had while I was on the inside. Not to mention I married my wife in a visitation room. But all in all, just stay out here, stay free. Peace.